I mean, what? 300 songs were submitted to this competition, and this was the 10th best song. Hi, this is Pete from Eurovision. Let's talk about Poland. What happened in the Polish final? Why are so many people unhappy? Why is there still an extra door in my office? All of these questions and more are going to get answered in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Probably less about the door, to be honest. So, the Polish final happened just a couple of days ago with the snappily titled translation, "Here beats the heart of Europe, we choose the hit for Eurovision," which is a bit longer than a song for Europe. The winner was chosen a few days ago. The song is Solo by Blanca. What we're going to do is I'm going to listen to the song. I've never heard it before because I didn't watch the national final, and then we're going to react to it. And then we're going to talk about a couple of the other unhappy things that have been going on during the Polish final, including we're going to listen to the entry that a lot of people said should have won, and then we're going to listen to a surprise entry. You probably already know which one it is, but I'm going to raise the suspense as to which one it could be anyway. But first of all, let's listen to Solo by Blanca. As always, we're not going to show me reacting to the video. Number one, because of copyright, and number two, because I make lots of notes as the song goes on. So all you're going to see is me scribbling away like a maniac. So let's listen to Solo by Blanca. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. I know there's been a lot of dislike for the song, and maybe that's because of the political things that have gone on in the background. Um, it's an entirely fine, competent song. Um, if I think it's very repetitive. I think is the main thing. There's solo, solo, and the chorus sort of being over and over again. Um, I get the feeling it's one of those songs that I think you would have heard at Junior Eurovision maybe 10 years ago. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. I just mean that in a sort of, it's just an entirely competent song. I heard some comments about her vocals. I thought the vocal was fine. I didn't hear any missed notes or anything. What I would say is that the opening few lines, she sort of, I thought we were heading into sort of Britney Spears. The way she says "baby" a bit, the way like Britney Spears does "baby, baby." Um, but um, I'm struggling to think of things to say about it. I don't think it's a bad song. I could imagine it being on in my car on a summer's day and enjoying it. But I don't. It's just an entirely fine song, and we've done this to death with better songs in the last few years, such as Fuego, such as El Diablo. That sort of stunningly beautiful young woman surrounded by dancers doing a routine. I think unfortunately other songs have done it better. Um, such as Fuego, such as El Diablo. The dancing was fine, but nothing spectacular. Let's look at what Finland's dancers have done this year. They've gone for it, and I mean, obviously that can change for the final. Um, I, um, I don't know. Even I don't know the middle eight bit where there's a line of them bent over. I think it doesn't really do all that much, and then it doesn't lead to anything. It just leads to a repetition of the chorus and then an end. Um, um, I'm struggling to think of things to say about it, and I don't mean that. And that may sound a bit mean, and I don't want to be mean because I don't want to encourage any dislike. Because, like I say, it's an entirely competent song, and it is one I would listen to. Um, I just think in the context of what's going on everywhere else in the contest, this is. I just don't think it would stand out. I think that's the thing. It doesn't stand out. It doesn't strike me. It doesn't. You know, not every song has to punch you in the face, which is the phrase I used to describe Finland and Cha Cha Cha. But this is I remember I'm gonna tell a story now. I remember in about 2001, I was on holiday in Turkey, and the the Greek entry for that year, "Die for You" by Antique, played in the hotel I stayed at, and I was really happy to hear the sort of nice Eurovision song, well, good Eurovision song actually, very good Eurovision song, playing. Um, and it's one of those songs, like if I heard solo while I was on a beach in Mallorca or something, I'd be happy to hear it. It'd be like, oh, this is good, nice sort of bouncy summer track. But I think it suffers from other songs such as this have gone before and done it perhaps better, and I just don't feel like it goes anywhere as a song. Um, so I will give it 6.5 out of 10. Right, so let's move on now to the song that many people thought should have won. Um, so I'm going to listen to Gladiator by Jann, which came second at the contest, won the televote, and I believe won the televote very convincingly, but didn't do oh so well with the juries, getting 7 points out of the 12 and ended up coming second in total. So this is Gladiator by Jann. Oh, well, that is a shame. Oh, gosh. I can see why people are upset. That is a very interesting song. Is it something I'd listen to in my car, or is it something that I would put on my playlist? I'm not sure what it is, but it's an interesting song. I think I love that sort of that opening verse. I both love and have some criticism of it. That that sort of how one line bleeds into the next. I actually really like that. I think that's a really nice part of the song. The problem is that in that first verse, as he goes into his falsetto, one consonant bleeds into the next, and I was actually struggling to understand what he was saying. And I don't think it's a singing in a second language issue. I think because when he doesn't sing in a falsetto, I can hear the words clearly. When he goes into his falsetto, the consonants sort of bleed into one another, and it's difficult to sort of make out the words. But his falsetto itself is incredibly impressive, and those last notes at the end, that I can't even get to that note myself, and it's a good thing. Nobody wants to hear that. So I thought his voice is very impressive throughout the range. Um, this is a song that needs dancers. It needs. It's a very good show. The lighting is incredible, but I think he'd benefit from a lot of dancers on stage doing all sorts of crazy things. Um, it's got that sort of electric sound, which you may draw the comparison between that and Cha Cha Cha. Cha Cha Cha, I always said, was a bit like being punched in the face. This is more like being slapped in the face a bit more gently, I think. Um, but I can see why Polish viewers are unhappy, because this was something different for them. It was um, you feel as though with a song you go on a bit of a journey with it, and it ends with that sort of wonderful, well reached high note. Whereas Blanca, nice pop song, but I keep saying the word fine because that's all it is. It's fine. I'm not sure that I like Gladiator enough that I would want to go out and buy it and listen to it. Um, but I can see that there are enough elements in it that would have made a great show on the Saturday night for the competition. So I think the juries may have got this one wrong, because they placed it in. They gave it 7 points. So that means that they put it in 12, 10, 8, 7. That means they put it in fourth place. So that means the jury thought there were two other songs ahead of it that were better. But apparently, the phone voters voted 3 times more for Jann than they did for Blanca. So that's overwhelming. And this is part of the problem with doing a 50-50 split where all you do is take the rankings of one group of people and compare them to the rankings of another, because you're not taking into account the magnitude of change. So you could be 3 times ahead in the televote, which is it's probably a majority, but you only get a 2-point advantage because you get 12 points rather than 10. There's no percentage or there's no proportionality to it. And I suppose that is to make sure that the jury is as powerful as the phone vote. But you are taking away a massive advantage from the phone vote when you do that. I don't want to get too much into the maths of it because it's long and boring. There were points in the song where it reminded me of Iceland's entry from '97, Paul Oscar. I think it's just a bit where he sort of sits down and sort of spreads his legs a bit. It reminded me a little bit of that, but that was about it, really. And actually, now that I think about it, that is in my head, so it's done exactly what it meant to do. So, yeah, no, I think they got that one wrong. Let's talk a bit about the Polish jury and some of the controversies that have gone on with the competition. Obviously, a lot of this is written on Wikipedia and in news articles, so hopefully I'm not committing any libel, but there are accusations that certain people in the jury knew Blanka. Some people are saying now they didn't know Blanka as well as they said they did. Her dancers in the video were either known to one of the jurors or were part of the jurors' same management team or something like that. And that they tanked Jann to make sure that Blanka won. And obviously, there's been this thing where a lot of Polish fan clubs and fan media have said we want an inquiry into why this has happened. This is always going to be difficult because, unfortunately, you subscribe to the rules of the game when you sign on the dotted line to take part. Now, if you take part in a competition and you are told there will be a jury vote who have so many points and you have a televote that has so many votes and the winner will be determined by a mixture of the two, you're sort of stuck to take part. Now, I'm sure that when artists take part and sign on the dotted line, they're not told who the jurors are going to be. And I believe with the Polish final, the jury was a fairly late addition to the competition. So again, was it right for them to do that and add in an extra jury? I suppose the idea of adding a professional jury to your national final is that there is some sort of professional accountability, that there is some sort of expert opinion going on. But we've got to remember now that the semi-finals don't need expert opinion. The semis of the Eurovision will be decided entirely by phone votes. So do you need experts as much as maybe we used to? But also, should they be as powerful as half and half? And also, should we just rank the points in the way that they did? Should the magnitude of the difference between two songs be the determining factor rather than just ranking them as 12, 10, 8, 7, 6? Will they overturn the result? I think that's very unlikely. The winner has won, and people voted for Blanka. She came second in the televote, so people did pick up the phone for her, albeit not as many as Jann. I think that's going to be very difficult to overturn. And I think this will be one of those many controversies in Eurovision that will maybe be talked about in years to come. So that's a real shame for them that they've had not a shame that they've had this controversy that fans don't fit. And the problem is that you say you haven't picked the right song, but there are fans of Blanka who will say we have picked the right song. There will be fans of the song that came third that will say we haven't picked the right song. Everyone's view on this is going to be different. So I think what's happened has happened. I think if there is some sort of cronyism or friends voting for friends, then that is unfortunate. And it's happened before at Eurovision. There's been, or in national finals where judges have been connected to artists in a way that they probably shouldn't have. So how do you solve that? Do you get the EBU involved? No, nothing to do with the EBU. How a broadcaster chooses its entry is nothing to do with the EBU. You do run the risk of the public being disenfranchised and going, well, what's the point if we do this? And hopefully, if there is some sort of inquiry and it does show that there is some sort of cronyism, then TVP, as the Polish broadcaster, may fix that for next year. I don't mean fix as in rig, I mean fix as in make it better. Right, there is one more song I'm going to talk about in this final, and I'm sure you know exactly which one it is, and you've been waiting for many minutes for me to talk about it. And this is Booty by Ahlena. Again, I've not heard this before, but I've heard many good things about it. I mean, what in the name of Martin Osterdahl did I just listen to? Yeah, I can tell why that came last. Um, I mean, I heard that the lyrics were changed to be less suggestive. I mean, God knows what they were if that was what they came up with on TV. Um, there's not much to say about it, really. It's just a badly performed song where she says "booty" more times than I've said "fine" in this video. Um, I mean, what was the choreography? Just go for a bit of a walk. Just walk around in your dress, and these other two girls they'll sort it out for you. They'll 300 songs were submitted to this competition, and this was the 10th best song. What were the other 290 songs? Oh, well, it came last. It didn't win, and that's all we have to say about it. So to summarize, Blanca, yeah, it's fine, isn't it? It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. Gladiator, a better song, a more interesting song, but the voting is the voting, and there's nothing we can do about that. And we will never talk about Booty again. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like, comment, share, subscribe. Do whatever. Ask questions about the door. The door's going to go eventually. We're just waiting for a sofa to arrive, and then this can go back in our living room, and I can have my office back and not be a storage unit. I'm sure this is the content Eurovision fans want. We're going to review Cyprus and Germany soon, and at some point we'll do Sweden whenever they've decided that Lorena's won. She hasn't won yet, so we're not listening to it. But yeah, otherwise we will see you soon. Bye bye.